Okay, so Celine, you're only one in the room right now. Good evening, how are you? Let me just go ahead and, yep. Okay, I'm going to download chapter 8 for you. And then I'll give you like in 10 minutes time, I'll just give you 10 minutes because I still didn't pray yet, so I just need 10 more minutes to pray. But let's not make it now. At 6:15, I'll go away for 10 minutes to pray and we'll come back, okay? Right now, let me start downloading. Okay, this chapter 8, is called Sentences as Arguments. Remember, we finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth one, the last one we did was on lexical relations, the relationship between one lexeme and the other, and the relationship between two sentences. We looked at 3 types of relationship: entailment, paraphrase, and contradiction. And we also looked at semantic field theory and semantic truth conditional semantics. These are the 2 different approaches to lexical relationships. Now here we're going to start with something different that is very much related to the semantic roles that you took in chapter 4. Remember the roles: agent, actor, affecting all of those. Now this is going to be there as well, but now we're going to look at it when the sentences are more complex, not simple sentences, but when the sentences have clauses as well. So let's look at sentences as arguments first. Remember, we said all the referring expressions are immediately arguments, right? When we talked about semantic roles. Now we have the same arguments. Now not only noun phrases are the arguments, the sentence themselves are the arguments. So what are we going to say? We're going to say that sometimes we have arguments, but these arguments are not referring expressions. An argument can also be what we call a predication or a clause. That's the whole trick. It's in object position. It's still an argument, but it's not a referring expression or noun phrase. It's a clause. A sentence embedded in another sentence. So another definition for a clause is when a sentence is embedded in another sentence. Embedded means enclosed within. Now there are several types of clauses, not just 1 or 2, several types. And the form or the type of this clause really depends on the predicate itself. And remember, we're talking about the predicate in semantics, not the predicate in syntax. The predicate in syntax is always a verb. The predicate in semantics could be a verb, an adjective, an adverb. So here, the form of the clause depends really on the predicate, whether it's a verb or an adjective. So, predicates that have embedded sentences or clauses as a theme. How do they express these sentences? What is it that they express? Well, they have divided it into a number of things that these sentences can express. These clauses can express. They can express general knowledge, like know, believe, recognize, realize, anything that's mental in the knowledge in the mental area can be expressed by a clause. They can express also emotions or attitudes, like I'm surprised, I'm happy, I'm afraid. They express some kind of perception. Perceptions means al-hawas. I see, I hear, I touch. They can also express saying, like I said, I told, I mumbled, I uttered. They can be expressed some kind of begin, like I started, I began, or verbs of allowing. I let you go to the park. I let him sweep the floor. I allowed him to sweep the floor. So all these are the various types of themes that can be expressed by the embedded clause. A theme بمعنى subject matter. What are all the topics or subject matters that can be expressed by these sentences? Now that's a general introduction to what the sentence is going, the chapter is going to be about. And we're going to start with the full first clause. We're dealing basically with 4 clauses. There are many types of clauses, but we're only dealing with these 4. So look in your textbooks as well, because this will help you. Follow the textbooks, but only look at the clauses that I will give you here. So a full statement clause is included. Now let's look at what we used to do. We said a sentence like Ivan knows the answer. Now this is a noun phrase, Ivan, and the answer is also a noun phrase, a referring expression, and the predicate was no, right? On both sides, these were noun phrases. But now we're looking at the types of sentences in which the object here is not a noun phrase. It's a whole clause, or what we call shibh jumla. So we can say, Ivan knows we are here. You see that? It's not the answer anymore. It's not a noun phrase. It's a whole clause. It's a whole sentence made up of the subject, the verb, and an adverbial, because here is an adverbial, right? It's a preposition or an adverb, so it has to be an adverbial. But notice now there are 2 subjects. The main subject, which is Ivan, and the main verb, which is no. After no comes we are here. Now that is optional, meaning it's always in between brackets. You can include it or you can just delete it. It doesn't matter. The grammar allows you to do both. What we are interested here in this clause is this clause. How are we going to look at it? We're going to say that it's also an argument. But now there's so many elements. There's a subject, there's a verb, there's an adverbial. Now this is the main verb, this is the main subject, this is the main verb, but this is the subject of the clause, of the embedded clause. And this is the verb of the embedded clause, and this is the adverbial of the embedded clause, like you took in syntax. This is the second level. So if we were going to look at where is the predicate in semantics, we know that Ivan is one referring expression or one argument, and we know that we are here is also another clause or argument. So where is the predicate? The predicate has to be no. That's why we say the predicate is no. What is Ivan? We say that Ivan is the affected. Why? Because anytime you have a verb that is of knowledge or of emotion, I think, I know, I realize, I recognize, any knowing, any mental thing, the subject immediately becomes affected because he's the one who's feeling this knowledge. And so therefore he's affected. Okay, so Ivan is the affected. And the predicate is no. What is happening over here? In the answer, it was always theme. What does he know? He knows the answer, so it's a theme. It's not an object. It's in syntax, it's a kind of theme. But if there's a whole sentence, what are we going to do with it? Well, we're saying the following. Ivan is affected, predicate is no, and now we start something called S-theme. So whenever you have the sentence that is embedded, you're going to write the S for theme, for the subject, for the sentence, and next to it you're going to put theme. Sorry about that. Next thing, you're going to put the S and the theme. And now the S and theme will be made up of we, are here. You're going to do a second layer of semantic roles. Are is part of the verb, the grammar, so it's not going to be here. We is the referring expression, and the predicate is here. So what is we? We becomes immediately a theme, because remember, there is the verb to be, and there's no activity. So we has to be the theme. What about here? Here is a place. So on the second level of the S theme, you're going to do another level of analysis. All you have to do whenever you see a embedded sentence, immediately start the S theme. So let's look again. Let me just give you a new example. So I can say, John knows we ate the cake. Now that's a sentence, right? John knows we ate the cake. How are we going to find the referring expression, the argument first? Well, first of all, very simply, we know that John is an argument. And we ate the cake is also another argument because it's a whole sentence. Right? Because there's another we, there's an ate, and there's the cake. Mainly, we ate the cake is the object of the verb know, and John is the subject. بالعربي هتكون شبه جملة في موقع مفعول به. في محل مرفوع به. في محل مفعول به. That's exactly what it is. It's a whole sentence, and it's the object of know. So now what do we do? In semantic analysis, know is the predicate. The predicate is know. And now I'm going to start the arguments. I have two arguments. Argument 1 and argument 2. Argument 1 is easy. It's John. And now I'll ask ourselves, what kind of a role is John? Well, we know anything that knows has to be some kind of mental. Knowledge is a mental activity in the mind. Anytime you have a verb that means mental activity or thinking or knowing, John becomes an affected. So here is affected. And know is the predicate. It's a predicate of knowledge, right? What about we ate the cake? Now we have to start what we call an S theme, because this is a new sentence and it's an embedded sentence, what you call a clause. And it's called, as the book tells you, a full statement clause. We're going to start the S theme and we're going to analyze the sentence, we ate the cake. So we have one referring expression, we, and we have a second referring expression, cake. So where is the predicate? It's ate. So in the S theme, the predicate is eat. That's the predicate. And it has two arguments, argument 1, argument 2. Now, we are what? We have to be agents, because we said anytime somebody does something and affects something else, he becomes an agent. What did we eat? The cake. And the cake here obviously is affected, because it is the ones who changed as a result of the argument. So the egg is affected. So you see what's happening? Now we analyze the embedded clause. And once we analyze it, we just start a new S theme. So this is what we call a full statement clause. We're only dealing with 4 clauses. One of them is the full statement. I need to take 15 minutes, people. I still haven't prayed today. So just let me go away for 15 minutes and I'll be back. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, so I'll be away. for 15 minutes over here. Be right back. Okay? Bye.